All right, the time is finally upon us. We finally have a Frosthaven speedrun. I'm really excited for this. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully you enjoy. It is not a full game speedrun. It is, I call the category 3 main quests. So start at a town in flames, beat the lurker storyline as fast as possible, the unfettered storyline as fast as possible, and one of the 3 Algox storylines as fast as I possibly can. This is a segmented run, which means that there are video edits in between each level, but every level itself was played in a single segment. So after I play level 1, I make a save, and then I can play level 2 as many times as I want until I get a really good one, and then I just video edit every single level back to back to back, and we go from there. So I think without further ado, let's get started. So we are going to be playing on hard difficulty, that's +1, with open information, which is basically a half level of difficulty. I'll put a thing up you can read right now if you want to see the equation, but we'll talk about it when it's more important a little bit later on. First character we make is a Blinkblade, who we do not want to retire. Blinkblade's going to play most of the missions, probably 28, I think. So we give it a personal quest where you have to loot wood and then go on a big long side quest, and we'll just never do that side quest. Geminate, however, is a class that we really do want to retire. We get something nice and special when Geminate retires. So we took Dangerous Game, kill 2 Algox guards, which are in the first scenario, Lurker Claw Crushers, and Robotic Bolt Shooters. And then Deathwalker grabbed a Study of Plants, collect 5 different herbs from loot tokens. Then we got Boots of Speed on Geminate and Deathwalker, and Winged Shoes and a Poison Dagger on Blinkblade. Deathwalker is going to sit out level 1, but Blinkblade and Geminate will be going there now. So there's not too much special about Scenario 1. It's a kill all enemies, and then we also have some city guards helping us out. They have bonus shield and innate 2 retaliate, and initiative of 50 for the purpose of monster focusing. But other than that, it's just a regular standard kill all enemies level. So the problem with this level is it's very, very RNG heavy, because we have a brand new attack modifier deck on both characters, which is bad. And then there are also a lot of enemies. 3 different enemies in this first room means that there are way too many possible different turns that they could take. And Geminate does a really good job of shutting that down. So we're going to play double losses on turn 1. We're going to move up with Drag Down and double Disarm, just to remove a bunch of the options from these guys, make sure this Priest doesn't disarm or immobilize us. And then we're going to attack him with Icebound Quills, attack for 5, with a -1 we'll deal 4 damage and pierce his shield. Blinkblade is going to move up, make this guard suffer with Blurry Jab bottom while slow, and then attack him for 4 with Power Leak. Unfortunately, a -2 means we only deal 2 damage to him, but we do poison him and get him kind of set up for Geminate, who took a bunch of damage from that Archer, but I'm way too fast for me to keep up with. Geminate here is going to go really, really fast at 12, and then use the Boots of Speed to go down at 2, to wound everything here. And then with Changeling's Boon, we are hoping with 2 attacks for 3 that we can do 7 damage into this guard. But unfortunately with the -2 here, that does not pick up the kill on the guard. So that is 0 guards killed on Geminate so far. Blinkblade is going to steal movement from both the Geminate and the city guard, who's our ally, to get over to the Archer over here and wound him with Sand in the Hourglass and make both of the other targets suffer 2 from the wound as well. It's basically always going to take Blinkblade 2 turns to kill this Archer, so I might as well use the first one to help out Geminate with the Sand in the Hourglass. So I'm pretty happy with how that strategy ends up working out. Now, Blinkblade, just one more enemy to kill in this room, so we'll just go fast and use Twin Strike. We're no longer muddled. We muddled ourselves on turn 1. The movement on Twin Strike is like required, which is kind of weird. So you'll see me frequently just kind of shake Blinkblade, because like I move one to get right back in place. Very similar thing with Geminate here. We have to move to get the form change on Draining Pincers. And we wanted to set up Hornbeetle Carapace. That's kind of why it was important that we got those enemies killed on turn 2. Now there's not much else that's going to be happening. We're just going to be looting on these characters, healing up, and moving over to this door. So we can take a brief look at the second room. Now, unfortunately, everything in this room is really, really spread out, which is pretty bad. If things are grouped up, we can hit them with AoE and do a bunch of damage to them, especially with the Hornbeetle Carapace that we just set up on Geminate. So that gives us +2 damage in our ranged attacks, and we have a couple really good ranged losses that we can play. Just going to long rest our characters here, heal up, get some time tokens, and get our items refreshed. So we're going to play both Firefly Swarm and Hail of Blades as our 2 cards on Geminate when we open the door. And we can just switch which one of the losses we play, which one we play for the loss and which one we play for the movement, based off what the guards do. If the guards move in and clump up, then we hit them with a big triangle pattern. But before we do that, we're going to set up our characters. So Blinkblade goes first to set Leaf with Twin Strike and to get extra time tokens and a Bless with Drive Recharge. And then Geminate is also going to grab a Bless and set Changeling's Boon, which will switch us to range form and allow us to turn the Leaf that Blinkblade set into fire. So now our Firefly Swarm, because of the fire plus Hornbeetle Carapace, is a 3 target attack for 6 if the monsters will group up for us. Blinkblade is going to open the door with Kinetic Transfer's bottom. That will move and make anything I'm next to suffer 1. The only thing I'm really looking here, I'm looking for movement out of the guards, and I want not the 23 out of the priest. If it had been the 23, I would have thrown Poison Dagger into the guard on this blurry jab. But we get him down to 4 health and wounded, which is not bad at all. Then these guards are going to move up and hit Blinkblade. Plus 2 means we're going to take a bit of damage there. That's 4 damage reduced to 2 because of the ward. And then we've got 2 attacks for 2 coming in. One of them is going to miss, and then we'll take 3 damage. Archer is going to shoot us for 4, which would kill us, so we're just going to drop 2 cards. We really like the cards we have in our hand. We've got 2 move 2 loot 1s, which we're going to need to pick up all this loot at the end. But because of the way these monsters move, we're able to get off our 3 target attack 6 with Firefly Swarm. And we end up drawing the Bless on our second target. So that's going to one-shot the Archer. Unfortunately, that's still 0 guard kills on Geminate, but I'm not going to complain too much about one-shotting an elite Outgox Archer. And then the Priest is going to move up, add a Bless to them, and heal one of their guys. Neither of the cards we played on Geminate switched us, so we're still in ranged mode, and we still have 1 tick of Hornbeetle Carapace left, so we're going to use that real fast here at the start of this turn with Mind Spike. So this is a range 3 attack for 4 into this closer guard. That's going to go off right here. We just need a 0 to kill him. Plus 1 will indeed get the kill. That is 1 Algox guard killed on Geminate. Now we're going to muddle and curse ourselves to get a 2 target attack for 4. Unfortunately, no Hornbeetle Carapace, and we miss at the guard who was exact 4 or 5 range away from us from that stupid curse that we gave ourselves. So still only 1 guard kill on Geminate. Blinkblade is using Cascading Reaction. I can attack the guard with wound, get an experience, move, and then attack the priest. Now, the priest dies here, which puts me in a kind of interesting situation because I played Sand in the Hourglass bottom, which is going to allow me to pay an additional time token to play an additional card. And I'm going to play Power Leak here, which gives me a 2 target attack 4. I'm going to poison myself to get the experience out of it, but I'm not going to perform the second attack because we've only killed 1 guard on Geminate. Plus, there's all of this loot that we really want to pick up. So, and then the guard's going to hit us, which doesn't really matter. The bottom of Mind Spike, which we played last turn, switched us into melee form on Geminate, and we are still muddled from muddling ourselves, unfortunately. But Reckless Jab, when we poison ourselves, does give us an attack for 4. First, Blinkblade's going to loot, and we get a pretty wide array of things. I didn't see any herbs in that, but that's okay. We don't necessarily need herbs in this level. It's going to be really important that we get a whole bunch of building materials in this first level, and then we're going to need a ton of herbs on Deathwalker, as that is her retirement. And level 1 is in the books, and it's on to our first Outpost phase, which is very difficult. Outpost phase is kind of the reason that this needed to be a segmented run, because it's just so hard to do it all like back to back. Anyway, first things first, we did not get battle goals on our characters. I would have loved to have gotten those 2 check marks on Blinkblade, but we didn't have enough cards in our lost pile. So we get to start with 4 soldiers, because none of our city guards died. We get 5 morale, and we can pass a week on the calendar. That's the first step of Outpost phase. Second step is the Outpost event. So I shuffled the deck, and then I showed the order as an anti-cheating measure, because I could, in between saves, just go in and stack the deck in a super favorable order, which I wouldn't do, but just as an anti-cheating measure, after I shuffle it, I show the order so everyone can see. The event we got is totally useless. You could like make a deck and try to draw up some resources phases, but that would just take time. So we'll just choose not to do any draws, and that's fine. Then we would get the daytime step in outpost phase, but the only thing we could do right now would be to train soldiers, which we don't need to. And now is downtime. Downtime is when you can sub your characters in and out. It's when you can make new characters, and when you can brew potions and craft items and all of that stuff. So we're going to sub Geminate out because we can't accomplish her battle goal here, and then Blinkblade's going to pay 2/2/1 to upgrade the craftsman, which gives us access to the heavy sword is the main reason we do that, because that's a very good item. And that right there is our first split, our first edit. So now we are going into level 2. All right, on to level 2, which can be very frustrating. Just moving the Snow Thistle from Geminate to the town real quick. And there are 2 different levels that you could pick here, level 2 or level 3. I highly recommend everyone play level 2 and not level 3, because this one's simply worse. What's really unfortunate here is that we've got 2 different factions of enemies that will be fighting each other, which we'll look at in just a second. But first, we're going to get our road events. I'm just going to hide this thing so that it doesn't really cover, shuffle the deck, and then show the order, and boom. This first event that we got here is quite lucky. We're going to get a morale and 10 gold, which is very, very good. We can definitely use that early gold. And done with road event, into the level. So for this level, there are hounds and priests, which are on one team, and they use the ally deck for attacks. And then there are guards and archers, which are the other team, and they'll just use the regular monster deck for attacks. We don't need to kill any of them, which makes this level very fast, which is why it's the one that we choose to do. We also got a really, really good battle goal on Blinkblade here. It's Layabout, which is gain 7 or fewer experience points, which I love to see. So first turn, we're going to go really fast. We're going to pop our wing shoes, which gives us jump on everything. And then Power Leak is a move 7, gain 1 XP. So we will jump over these guys, go invisible, and we can't be hit. One of Blinkblade's masteries is to never be targeted by an attack for an entire scenario. So we're going to be going for that here. It is possible that on the last turn, the archers go fast and hit us, which would be unfortunate. And so this right here is what makes this level so frustrating. The priests and hounds are fighting the archers and the guards, and so it's really hard to especially try to do monster focus really, really quickly. Is very difficult and can take a bunch of tries, and I'm really just hoping for like fast things for the guards to do. Like them playing their strengthen card is not particularly fast. But we do have another ulterior motive here. So we want to escape our characters as quickly as possible. We want Blinkblade to never be targeted by an attack. And we want Deathwalker to loot herbs. So this level has 2 Arrowvine and I believe 1 Rockroot in its loot pool. We're not going to get access to very many loot tokens, but it is something that Deathwalker can do a little bit of. So we're letting all of these monsters go. They finished up their turns, and I get to make 3 shadows with Deathwalker and then move the shadows for 6. So I really only need 1 shadow far away, and then I'm going to keep 2 close to me. I really, really wish that I could go for one of Deathwalker's masteries of creating or destroying a shadow every turn. An older strategy I had for this level did do that, but that was before I needed to loot the herbs on Deathwalker, unfortunately. And having to loot those means that I won't be creating a shadow on this turn. But with Shadow Step Top, that's going to allow me to move as long as I end my movement on a shadow. And then with the bottom of Sunless Apparition, I can loot and pick up any tokens that the monsters have dropped from them killing each other, and then teleport to the shadow that I sent really far on turn 1 by making it 3 hexes away and then sending it 6 after that. So we just need all of the monsters to go really quick. They didn't block Blinkblade, which can be a really unfortunate and frustrating way to have to reset if they block Blinkblade on turn 2, which I could counter by playing Overdrive top instead of Drive Recharge. Which is probably something that I should do here because it would give me jump on all of my fast actions, but that's neither here nor there because it's not relevant here. These guys are almost done with their turn. I'm just assuming that I did all of the monster aggro correctly. I think that I did. Luckily, we had these priests attack and kill these guards, or kill that one guard at least, which means Deathwalker can move onto her shadow with Shadow Step, loot the token, teleport over, and we're basically ready to go. Blinkblade's just going to run in front of this door. I shouldn't be doing the Drive Recharge here. Drive Recharge is just a backup strategy in case I need to played kinetic transfer as my bottom, and I could pay a token to push an archer out of the way if it was in the way. And if I had to pay that extra token, then I would play drive recharge to get even more tokens for the following turn. But that wasn't something that was necessary here. Unfortunately, the priests are really fast, so we're just going to have to do their turn. Because they go at 8, but both of our characters are going to be escaping here at 19. So this was a 3-turn scenario. It feels like it should be a lot faster because we barely did anything on our characters, but it's fine. We're just going to move forward with the top of kinetic transfer here. I should have done this the other way because I could have grabbed 2 experience. The way I did it, I didn't get any experience, which is really dumb, but moving with kinetic transfer, we can attack and push a guard, and then move in with cascading reaction and escape, and Deathwalker moves 6 with Shadow Step and escapes. Blinkblade was never targeted by an attack, so we complete our mastery, and the scenario reward gives us 1 check mark, and we didn't get 7 experience. We got 7 or fewer, which gave us 2. So we get both 3 check marks and another perk from our mastery, which is really nice. Really nice. And the next levels are linked, so we don't have to go back to town, and we are right on into it. So scenario 4, the Heart of Ice. This level has 2 different versions of the first room, depending on if you came from Algox Scouting or Algox Offensive. So we will be playing side A, which has a similar theme from the previous level of 2 different factions of enemies. So there will be Algox Scouts and Algox Guards that are both enemies to us and to each other, so they'll be fighting among themselves. We have to add 2 -1s to each of our characters, which is very sad. That puts us at 7 -1s total in each of them. Blinkblade did get 2 perks in the previous level, 1 from 3 check marks and 1 from a mastery. So we did get to take out our -2, and we also get to start with the Head Start perk. So at the start of our first turn, we get to perform a free move 3, which is very nice. The aside from speed, the actual most important thing in this level is the RNG. We really need herbs on Deathwalker. So she needs 5 to retire. We got an Arrowvine in the previous level, and this level has both Rockroot and Corpse Cap. I believe 2 Rockroot, 1 Corpse Cap, and there are 5 loot tokens possible in the first room, which gives us about a 10% chance to get the Corpse Cap and 1 of the Rockroot in 5 tries. So we have the enemies group up a little bit here. The scouts move closer to the guards and hit them because they were faster than us, and then the guards retaliate on them. Well, not actual retaliate, but they hit them back. Deathwalker gets to move 6 and make a shadow, and then make 3 more shadows with Eclipse, replacing these in very specific places where we want the guards to be. And Blinkblade can help out with that. So we get our free move 3 from our perk, which is one of the reasons we really needed it, because it's really good right here. Drive Recharge is going to get us up to 4 tokens, and then the bottom of Kinetic Transfer lets us move and pay a token to push all adjacent enemies for 3, which is insane. So we're able to push these guys together, smush them all into a tiny little pile, and then now we have nice AoE on Deathwalker. So we're going to wound all 3 of the guards with Anger of the Dead, which is why we place the shadows there with Eclipse, and then we'll take our middle one and use Lingering Rot. So that shadow attacks the hex that it's in and all hexes adjacent to it. We're just going top down left right order, so that the targeting is nice and easy, and I get decent damage here. The poison on everything is really nice. Unfortunately, we killed the Algox Scout in the bottom, and then super unfortunately, these guards are all shielding. So, especially with Blinkblade playing Cascading Reaction, that's 2 attacks, so the Elite is going to take 2 less damage than he would have here. And even with the miss and the -1 coming out of the guard, they kill the Scout. So now we just have 1 faction of enemies to deal with, and the guards are definitely the tougher ones. They hit a lot harder, and they have these stupid shield cards. But it's not the end of the world. Blinkblade pulls a -1 and a +1 on the Cascading Reaction loss, which isn't amazing. These guys have a lot more health than I would like for them to, but it's not that bad. There are a whole bunch of different options, both for turn 2 and for turn 3, based off which one of the monsters move first. If the guards move into the scouts, that can change things quite a bit. I normally always like to play Dark Fog here on turn 3 as the Deathwalker, but Blinkblade, I can go for either Sand in the Hourglass or Twin Strike. And so I should have figured out a little bit faster that those are the 2 cards that I should play. I just want Deathwalker to be going first. This took me a really long time to figure out. So with Boots of Speed, Deathwalker and Blinkblade tie at 24, which means you go off the second card, which 46 is faster than 52. We get to hit 2 targets with Dark Fog, but unfortunately we pull a minus on the Elite and we don't kill him. Which really sucks because that's the hex that I want to be in. Deathwalker has a bottom loot 1, which means that I could have gotten 5 tokens in a single turn, but I did get Corpse Cap on the very first loot token that I got, which is really, really good.
This is fine.
So here, Deathwalker is just going to play the loot card to loot all the adjacent things. Ignore the card that pops up here for a split second. I added these cards in afterwards, and I just put the wrong one at first. But Deathwalker does a loot 1, then teleports onto one of her shadows, and she gets the rock root right there. So she got him in just 4 loot tokens, which is very nice, and it meant that Blinkblade was able to pick up the last one. Deathwalker is just going to use Call to the Abyss bottom to make another shadow. Blinkblade's going to move closer to the door. It's time for everybody to long rest. We're going to make 1 more shadow so that we have 5 ready to go. I accidentally pressed D here and it was messing me up, and for some reason pressing escape wasn't working to close that menu, the search menu, but it's fine. It worked out. We got there in the end. Blinkblade just closer to the door. Deathwalker just makes a shadow real quick. This is frustrating because the RNG in this level was very good, I would say, but my execution here was not. So in this next room, there are 2 different bosses that we'll be dealing with. We have to draw a monster deck for each of them. We have the Snowflake and the Fist. And which one you kill makes a very large effect on the rest of the run. They're basically a set of Snowflake scenarios and Fist scenarios. And we need to kill the Fist because Snowflake has fewer scenarios in her route for some reason. So Blinkblade is going to run in, make him suffer with kinetic transfer, hit him with Twin Strike, and poison him.
What is it?
Snowflake was she was top in top-down, left-right order, so she got the first card, which is Special 1, which I make a little bit of a mistake here. Special 1 is supposed to push, which I forgot. So I have her attack, and it does the damage to the Fist. I was struggling to do the math. And she should have pushed him into the corner, which would have meant that one of these Deathwalker shadows wouldn't reach when I move them all for 6, but whoops. So I should only have 4 attacks for 4 here, because Wave of Anguish is attack for 3 and he's poisoned. But with +1 and a 0, that should be 9 damage, and then another +1. And the -2, he should have survived with 2 health, or maybe 3. But I did 1 more attack than I should have. It's not the end of the world. We were definitely going to win the scenario. I had tons of cards. We did more than half of his health, so oh well. We do also get one morale and 1 prosperity as scenario words for beating this level, which is very good. So prosperity is extremely rare in scenario rewards. And we also get 30 gold from our outpost event. There are a ton of outpost events that give a lot of really, really good stuff. We have one coming up kind of soon that's going to give us not that soon, it's in a few weeks, but it's going to give us a lot of wood and metal. And we are making more characters. I have to figure out what building I'm building based off what resources I have here, which is a little frustrating. But we just unlocked the Snowflake, and Snowflake is actually really good. She definitely has a particular set of skills, namely ally movement is really, really good in Snowflake. So we are going to add her to the party, and we want the retirement goal of experiencing the construction of 12 different buildings. What's really nice about this retirement goal is you technically don't have to play any levels because the party changes during the downtime phase, which happens before the building phase. So you can not play a level, but switch into the party and experience the building of, or the construction of a building, and then just not go and play the next level. But we're not going to do that. So we're going to build the mining camp. Getting metal early game is really important because there are a lot of really good metal items. The spyglass and the heavy sword.
One.
Go. Namely, mostly, in particular. I wasn't sure if I had accomplished my perk or battle goal or not, so I checked the video in between, and I'm adding that in here now. And we just sub out the cards, and I forgot to get items on Snowflake. So she had 30 gold to spend. She wants a pair of Boots of Speed, but both of the pairs of Boots of Speed were taken, so Geminate has to sell its first. Not a huge deal there. I just forgot to do it before I turned off the video, but that's not the huge deal, I don't think, at least hopefully. That level had a bunch of mistakes in it, but I got the good RNG, so we had to go with that. But it's time to move into Snowflake's first level. All right, don't call me a flat earther, but we are headed to the edge of the world to fight some crabs. This is a cool level. It's a boss fight, and all we have to do to win is kill the boss. So typically with levels like this in a speed run where you have to kill a boss or an objective, you just ignore everything else and you run straight to the end. But road event doesn't matter here. We just pick no effect, and then we have to add 2 -1 or 1 -1 to each of our characters. So we could just run straight to the boss here. Or there are Lurker Claw Crushers, which Geminate needs to kill 2 to retire. And I believe, don't quote me on this because I haven't looked at it in a few weeks, but I believe this level has Axenut and Snow Thistle both. I think it's just one of each. So theoretically, Deathwalker could play this level, loot both of those, and retire. But it took me over 20 attempts in the previous level to get the 2 herbs that I needed in 5 loot pulls, and I was not going to go for that again here. So we're just going to play with Snowflake and Blinkblade, but they can be nice and fast. This is the level that made me realize that the free move 3 on Blinkblade is actually really, really good. So Lurkers are going to take their turn. Then Snowflake is going to move forward with just a move 3. I guess just a move 2. And then she plays the card Crosswinds, which will grant Blinkblade a move 2. Then Blinkblade gets its free move 3 from its perk. It's going to activate our drive recharge and set Hit and Run, which is a card we haven't seen yet. It's a really confusing loss effect, but basically, after you finish playing a half of a card, and if during that half of a card you performed at least 1 attack, then you get to do a move 3. So these Lurkers are going to go first. They should have wounded Blinkblade, but I forgot. I thought it was... I see this card and I just think shield. I don't think about the wound part. Anyway, Snowflake pushes Blinkblade forward 4 with the Spirit's Call loss. That should also grant a Bless. I realized that I didn't get the Bless in a second. And then also grants movement with Crosswinds again. We just short rested to get that card back. So Blinkblade does this attack with Twin Strike, and then the move 2 on Twin Strike. We skip the attack for 3, and then Hit and Run procs, which gives us a move for 3. We'll activate our Jump Boots, and then we have move 7 Jump with Power Leak, which is going to get us into this far room back here. Mind Snipper only has 3 range on this card, which is really nice because the Mind Snipper muddles with every attack, and it does have a 4 range card. But we're 4 hexes away. It can't get to us without going through the poison traps, so it's just going to run towards Snowflake to try to hit her instead. Lurker soldiers are just standing still because of their shield card, and I forgot to draw the boss card when I opened the door, but he was last anyway, and he just moves 1 because there's no fire for this frozen charge, whatever it's called. Here is where I'm counting the Blinkblade cards. We should be at 19 because we removed our -2. Then we add a -1 up to 20. We blessed ourselves up to 21. So I'm realizing that I needed 1 more bless because I didn't give myself the bless from Snowflake. So I added that in just a little bit late. And I had performed 1 attack, but that doesn't matter, hopefully. So Blinkblade, I love, this is my favorite part of Hit and Run, is it makes the bottom of Temporal Placement actually a really, really good card. Snowflake's just going to run away so he doesn't get hit by this Claw Crusher, who just stands still. And now Blinkblade attacks with the bottom of Temporal Displacement, does 2 damage through the shield on this guy, and then we get a move 3 from our Hit and Run, which now we were able to use that ranged attack to get in range and hit with Cascading Reaction. So we'll poison him on the first hit. -1, unfortunately, means we don't do any damage to him. And he does have Retaliate 1. Then the second hit of Cascading Reaction also doesn't really do very much. And then we get the granted move 3 from Hit and Run once we finish the Cascading Reaction loss. Mind Snipper still targets Snowflake. Blinkblade's way too far away to get hit now. And the Coral Corpse gets a +2 on Blinkblade, which would actually be a lot of damage, especially because he brittles with every attack. And Blinkblade should technically be wounded. But given that we just lost a card instead of taking that damage, we were never at risk of dying. And then the Lurkers are just going to move closer to Snowflake. And she's just being a nice, tasty, dangly piece of bait over there. Now we have these traps in this final room. Kinetic Transfer is basically all I want. The only problem is that the initiative on it is really bad. But I do get a push 3, and these are 4 or 8 damage worth of traps with a push 3. So that's going to be it's worth going late. The only downside is if the frozen corpse gets his 23, which would immobilize me. So we just move with kinetic transfer. We get our attack. He's poisoned, and we get a +1, which is quite good. We get good damage into him, and then once we finish this half of the card, we get to move with hit and run, and then now we can attack with temporal displacement at range again, which will kill him, and then hit and run procs again because we finished a half of a card where we did a thing, which means that we're able to move onto the loot token and get the loot. And I think I forget to give myself the experience from hit and run, but I do fix it in between the levels. And then we just have to finish the monsters. They go and kill Snowflake, but we're done. We already beat that level. Nice and fast. You just have to run to the boss. The chest... Oh, no, I do remember the XP. The chest, I do believe, has a random item blueprint in it. And there were 8 available, but only one of them is worth anything, really. And I tried a couple times to see if I could get the item, but it wasn't happening. I decided it was worth it to just go for the loot pile instead after a couple failed attempts. So Blinkblade levels up here. We're going to grab Reckless Augmentation, really good level 2 card. It gives experience on both the top and the bottom, which is nice. And then when if you use it, that's if you use it fast. If you use it slow, it's a move 3 bottom most of the time. For completing the level, we get 10 experience each, and we get a piece of the Coral Crown, our first of 6 Coral Shards, which I will take.
And a Coral Shard. That's what
it is. the watching the Outpost phase is horrible because I get so discombobulated with it, and I decided at the beginning that all of my saves were going to be after finishing the Outpost phase, which means we have to get through the whole thing, but it's so hard to do the Outpost phase fast. So we pass time first, then we get our Outpost event is the second thing. We got a really good one here where we have to spend 15 gold, but we get 7 resources after a couple week delay. Generally, resources are worth 2 gold each, so not bad at all. Then we move on to daytime. We can pay 2 gold to get the metal that from the mining camp. And that's basically the only thing we have in daytime. The only other thing right now is training soldiers, which we haven't used any, so we don't need them. And then downtime, we don't really need to buy anything here. I would love to buy either a spyglass or a heavy sword, but I don't have the metal to spare on Blinkblade. But what we need to do is build the boat. Now, this was really frustrating, and I had to replay this level several times, 5 or 6 times, because... we get to get the order of the boat events here. So I shuffle them, and then I'm going to show them just so that we know that I didn't go and stack the deck in my favor. Done. There are only 13 boat events, which is nice, but the boat deck has literally the best event in the entire game. It's boat event 6, and so I need that to be in the first 3 events or the route just doesn't really work. Not only did we get boat event 6 in the second slot, but we got 7 in the first slot. 7 is also a really good boat event where we get 2 of each resource, which I will take that. So we're going to give those to Blinkblade, and we just got a boat event because we're going to play a boat scenario. We are off to the Jagged Shoals, which I know is everyone's favorite scenario in the game. So, the Jagged Shoals. This is everybody's favorite level. It's stand next to a rock for 7 turns. Which was a weird idea for a level. Luckily, we can complete it very quickly. So, we're just going to have Snowflake push Blinkblade forward on turn 1 here. And infinite spawning is everyone's favorite. So, Snowflake's going to push Blinkblade forward on turn 1 here. We get our free move 3. And then we have a loss that lets us move 7. So we're going to get next to the rock on turn 1 and go invisible. And then we can just long rest, go invisible, long rest, go invisible. The only thing that makes this level, the only other thing we need to accomplish, this chest in the corner has 3 pieces of wood, which is quite good. But Snowflake can help us get that really easily. Snowflake on turn 2 is just going to grant Blinkblade movement to move 1 down while Blinkblade goes really slow, goes at 99, and then Blinkblade can just do a loot 1 with temporal displacement to get the chest, get the 3 wood, and then move right back next to the rock. And you just have to have 1 character next to the rock at the end of the round, so we will win this scenario at the end of round 7. I had a decently cool strategy that I went with a couple times, where I brought Deathwalker to this level as well.
Faster?
This level has Snow Thistle in the loot pool, so I figured I might as well just kill a few things and get a Snow Thistle. On turn 1, I can use the White Winds S pattern attack on Snowflake and hit 4 different targets, and Deathwalker can run in with Shadow Step, move 6, make a shadow, and use Lingering Rot and attack from that shadow and hit 3 targets, and then on turn 2 pick up 3 pieces of loot. And if I get a Snow Thistle from that, it would be pretty good, and I get extra loot, which means extra building materials. But the problem with that is it messes up my inspiration, and I need to get 15 inspiration quickly. It also makes the level just take a lot longer because I'm taking a lot of turns with my characters and doing things. Whereas now, Snowflake is dead, and we can just long rest an invisible Blink Blade. And so after we get this chest here, that is all we will be doing. So instead of, I mean, we'll have this on in the background, but my recommended changes for this level. Dwarf has some that are pretty good. I think the last time I played this level, I kind of accidentally did Dwarf's changes. Mine would be slightly different. So I think you can keep this level basically how it is, except remove the infinite spawning. Probably put the spawns that are supposed to be there at the start of round 1, just put those enemies on the map. And keep standing next to the rock for 7 turns. So you want to fight your way through all of the enemies, but they're not infinitely spawning, and stand next to the rock for 7 turns. Then at the start of the 7th round, so before you could possibly have gotten all of the tokens from the rock, have the level spawn a whole bunch of enemies, like mostly at the middle, but some at the beginning, and then have it be an escape scenario where you have to get back to one of the starting hexes to escape. So that way you would be like fighting through the enemies, then you have to stand next to the rock, then a bunch more enemies are going to spawn, and then you have to choose, are you fighting back through all of the enemies, or are you just going to try to go around them to escape and, you know, allow characters to escape early if they were going to die. I think that would be a better way to do this level. It's also really a shame because this level's the first time that most likely you would have ever seen able herders or lightning eels or piranha pigs. This level was the first time I saw any of them, and my party, by the end of turn 3, there were so many monsters on the board, and we were pretty confident that we weren't going to win. It was just very sad. We didn't have a Blink Blade in the party to run to the end and just go invisible. And so my group was not a fan of this level, and one of the people who played this with us was the first level of Frosthaven that she had played. She had played some Gloomhaven with us, but she came over, she made a Deathwalker, and this was the first and only Frosthaven level that she has ever played because she did not want to play anymore after that. So a little bit sad. Blinkblade did also get to use the suffer damage from going invisible to kill a lightning eel, and we got 2 check marks from never attacking something that had had its turn already. So, you know, we got what we could out of the scenario. We get our second piece of the Coral Crown, and we add Winter Outpost 81 to the Winter deck, which sucks. This is a really, really, really awful attack where it wrecks any building that it damages. So really wish you didn't have to add that. The starting Winter Outpost deck has 11 good or neutral events and 9 attacks. So it's about 50-50 that you're going to be attacked, but now we've added a 10th attack into it, unfortunately. Our Outpost event here is a pretty decent one. We add an event to the calendar in 2 weeks for the Great Dalum coming to visit, and in the meantime we get to add a morale and an inspiration, which is going to bring our morale up high enough to get 5 base defense. A couple other things we need to do here during this outpost phase. First, during the daytime, we're going to spend our 2 gold to get our metal, and then we're going to spend 2 metal, 1 to get a spyglass, and 1 metal, 1 hide to get a heavy sword. So now Blinkblade is decked out with a pretty nice melee attacking build, item-wise, although still no potions yet. Deathwalker is going to come back in just to sell her Boots of Speed real quick, because we're making another character, and it's probably pretty easy to guess why we rushed to the Jagged Shoals. It's because it unlocks one of the lurker classes. So I guess spoiler real quick for the Kelp, who we will be seeing soon. Kelp is another one of the classes that we do not want to retire. So we take the Aether Outpost, where we would have to go and play a whole big long chain of side scenarios. Man, it was being really laggy here. We take the Aether Outpost so that we don't have to retire. We're still just Prosperity 1, so we only get 30 gold to spend initially. And then we're going to make some more characters here. We're going to make a Banner Spear and give it a retirement goal. And we're going to make a Drifter, I believe. Yeah, we're going to make a Drifter and we're going to give it a retirement goal. The point of this is that now we only have 3 personal quests remaining in the deck. When we do a retirement that gets, and we spend 15 inspiration to unlock a random building, we don't want, there's a specific building that we want to unlock from that. And so if we just give all of the personal quests that we don't want to see to other characters that get made and just don't come to scenarios, then we're guaranteed to get the event that we want. We spend the Snow Thistle that Geminate picked up in the first scenario, and the Corpse Cap that Deathwalker picked up in the third scenario, to give Kelp a poison potion, and we're going to build the Hunting Lodge because we need a whole bunch of buildings built. We need a bunch of prosperity, and we really need those items. We're leaving 3 characters in the party because 3 characters are going to go and play the next level. This should be the first level we play with 3 characters, I believe. So off to the Crystal Trench. On the way there for our road event, we're going to pick up some Corpse Cap. So we can do option A here and mark some H's in this week in the calendar. And then we get to pick 3 Corpse Cap from the cave. Very, very nice. Very nice. So for the Crystal Trench, it is an escape scenario. All we have to do is get our characters to the escape hexes, and we have to have killed all of the polar bears along the way. So 1/1 goes in everybody's deck real quick. And we are bear hunting. The other 2 really important parts for this level. 1, Kelp needs to set dark every turn. That's one of our masteries, and we really, really want that mastery because we have a perk where we can start with 2 trophies, which is really good. We really, really need that. So that's goal number 1, set dark every turn on Kelp. Goal number 2 is to get both an Axe Nut and a Snow Thistle on Deathwalker. There are only 2 levels early game that have Axe Nut even possibly in their loot pool for Deathwalker, and there are just no early game levels that have Flame Fruit if you are going through the Snowflake route and not the Fist route. So the only way for us to get 5 herbs, we have to get the Axe Nut from this level. It's basically required. So in order to do that, there are 6 enemies in this first room, so slightly better odds than we had in the third scenario. So Blinkblade's just going to move forward. We're going to target this polar bear with Cascading Reaction, use Jump Boots to get over and do the second hit of Cascading Reaction into Snow Imp. Then Kelp gets to play Haunting Brutality, which will set dark for us, so that's dark on turn 1. It's Teleport 6, all adjacent enemies suffer 2, which is really nice. And then Ink Cloud also sets dark for us. We just get to attack all of these targets for 2. So Kelp picked up 2 kills there, which is pretty nice. Ideally it would be more than that, but that's okay. Anytime Kelp picks up a kill, or an enemy dies to wound, or an enemy dies to Bane, Kelp gets a trophy, and then you can spend trophies for various things, which we'll get to soon. These Snow Imps are both going to attack Blinkblade because it was fastest, and they do have Brittle, which can stack up damage really quickly. And so because of this +1, instead of taking 6 damage on turn 1, I decided to just lose a card, which isn't really the end of the world. But since we went fast on Blinkblade on turn 1, which is not something we normally do, we have to go slow on turn 2. There's no option. Kelp's going to use the attack on Hollow Aura here. That does set dark, so we've set dark for turn 2. We really would have liked for it to pick up the kill because we would have gotten another trophy, but it didn't. It's not the end of the world. Deathwalker really appreciates Kelp setting all of this dark because we were able to use the dark on Forceful Spirits last turn, and we're able to use it on our 28 initiative card here to get an attack for 3 and kill the Snow Imp up top. And then Blinkblade has Blurry Jab, move and make a target suffer 1, and then just move right back with Kinetic Transfer. So not too much left for us to do here. Kelp is going to teleport in place and set dark with Soul Hunger. and then set Skull Collection. So with Skull Collection, as many times as we want during our turn, we can spend a trophy to poison a target, muddle a target, or set Dark. And we're just going to be using it for setting Dark because we have to set Dark every turn. But this way we can set Dark while we're long resting, which is nice. Deathwalker is going to move forward and make more shadows, and Blinkblade's going to get Drive Recharge set up. So we have 5 shadows set for Deathwalker, and she's in the middle of a very nice loot pool, so we get to loot 5 tokens here and then teleport onto the shadow, and we get all of the loot, and we did get both the Snow Thistle and the Axe Nut. This level took me almost 40 attempts. It was awful. I went from like really liking this level to really disliking it because it was just not happening. I was just not getting the herbs that I needed. I did resort to going up to 9 loot tokens on Deathwalker because there are 3 that they're reasonable to get in this next room. But I had several attempts where I did get the herbs that I needed, but they were just slow and they had something go wrong. It takes a lot of luck for the first room to go as well as it did here. So anyway, opening this door, we've got 2 polar bears we have to kill, and now that we got all of the herbs, we don't really need to do anything else with Deathwalker. These snow imps got their shield card, which is a little bit annoying because Deathwalker is going to move all of these shadows for 6. One of them goes as far into the room as it possibly can to get us close to teleport to the end. And then the other 4 are just going to go into attacking the polar bears. So here, 1 is going to target the normal here, and then 3 are going to target the elite with the loss on Wave of Anguish, where every shadow gets to attack for 3. And then normally my 5th shadow would hit that normal snow imp and kill it with a 0 or better. But because they got their shield card, there's no point in doing that. And then, unfortunately here, Deathwalker is going to crit on the elite. So crit would have killed the normal. But it's very important that the elite dies because I need Kelp to move as far into the room as possible. So Kelp has a teleport 3, set Dark with Soul Hunger, and then attack for 1, move, attack for 2 with Tumultuous Panic. We needed 1 point of movement, but it's actually very important that we got that point of movement. Kelp does crit, but it doesn't kill a polar bear because it was only an attack for 2. Now, when we opened this room, there was another part that we didn't really read because it doesn't start until the beginning of the next turn. Every single turn after opening the door at the beginning of the round, a hound will spawn in one of the starting hexes. So they are constantly following you, chasing you through the trench, and don't let them catch up because their immobilized card at 6 speed can absolutely dominate you, unless you have teleport, I guess.
Faster. But
wow. We're using our boots on. Why did I use the boots on Kelp? I don't know. We'll figure it out. Oh, yes. We use boots on Kelp to go slower than Blinkblade. I'm dumb. So Blinkblade's doing this move 7 because you can't teleport to a door and you can teleport to a door and open it, but you can't teleport past a door and open it. So Blinkblade uses the move 7 on Power Leak and then an attack with Blurry Jab, which crits for big damage. And then Kelp has teleport 4, teleport 2. So we teleport 6 hexes exactly. It lets us disarm the bear, which doesn't matter too much. We're going to pay the 1 trophy that we have right now to set Dark because the 2 cards we're playing don't set Dark. But attacking this guy with Lacerating Stabs, it's attack for 2, attack for 2, attack for 2, and I use my poison potion to poison him ahead of time. And he dies, which gives us a trophy, which we can spend that trophy next turn to set the Dark. We just need this 1 polar bear right here to die, so Deathwalker is going to play her Lingering Rot Loss. You have to destroy a shadow for it, but it'll kill the guy. And then I get to move this shadow 5 hexes with Dark Fog. And all the polar bears are dead. We just have to deal with the snow imps. So 1 will attack Kelp for some damage, and then this normal, I believe he's not going to reach. Oh, no, he does reach. He gets a +1, so we'll just throw a card on Kelp. It doesn't really matter. Another hound is going to spawn at the beginning, but everybody is ready to escape. We just need Kelp to teleport and set Dark, and then Deathwalker will also teleport, and Blinkblade is just going to loot 1 to get the token left behind by this bear last turn. I just have to make sure I'm on the right character when I do the loot so that it gives the loot to the right person. Move and escape. Kelp will teleport and set Dark and escape, and Deathwalker will teleport and escape, and we are out of there. We got the herbs we needed. We got our mastery on Kelp, And back to town. So onto our post-scenario cleanup, we get wood and 2 hides that give the wood to Blinkblade and the hide to Kelp. Blinkblade never performed a basic action, so we get 2 check marks, and Kelp killed a target that had 2 or more negative conditions with that final lurker, so he gets bully. We are headed back to town, and Deathwalker will retire as soon as we get to the downtime phase. Now, first things first here, we have this event 32.3 where the traveling trader comes. We can spend 7 gold each to gain any one resource. So Blinkblade's going to get a medal because we're low on that. Kelp didn't get any gold, so can't really buy anything since it was his first level. Then onto the daytime phase, we can spend 2 gold for a medal and 2 gold for a hide on Deathwalker. We're going to give the medal to Kelp and then spend that medal on a spyglass. This is going to be very important for the next level we play. Then Deathwalker is going to put 2 wood, a metal, an arrowvine, an axenut, a rockroot, and a snow thistle, all in town because we are to the downtime phase. I did forget to do an outpost event, but I do fix it before the next level. But Deathwalker has now looted 5 different types of herbs, and she retires, which is going to unlock building 24 for us. I guess I never went to the envelope thing to unlock it, which maybe it automatically unlocks the buildings for you if you put them in the completed pile. I don't know, or maybe I added the envelope in between levels because I don't have footage of it, but it's not a big deal. All we did was unlock building 24, which we can't build yet, but we can build it in the beginning of the next phase. I was really lost and confused here because I knew I was forgetting something, and it was to unlock that envelope, but I decided to just end the segment and just move on and fix it later. And it's now later, which was like, this was like 15 seconds later, I realized I didn't do the outpost event. So we're going to go back through. We're going to pick option A here, which means that we don't have to get attacked, but we do lose some morale because we choose not to fight the fish people. And also in that scenario, we set dark with every turn, so Kelp got a mastery, and now we get to start every level with 2 trophies. We didn't build a building there because we were really low on metal, unfortunately, and we can't really afford to be spending any inspiration on anything. And we are loading up with 4 characters for this next level we're playing, although we're not really playing a level. We're going to go on a quick little side quest. We just retired our Deathwalker, and we're kind of close to retiring our Geminate. Geminate has killed 2 Algox guards and needs to kill 2 Lurker Claw Crushers and 2 Robotic Bolt Shooters. So we're going to head for those Claw Crushers right now. We also get Boat Event 6 here, which is the best thing in the game. Each one of my characters gets to pick 1 herb each, and we get a Prosperity. That Prosperity is really, really good. And then we mostly need Axenut as our main herb, so we're going to grab 2 of those, 1 Arrowvine, and a Flame Fruit, because we won't play a level that gives us access to Flame Fruit for a while. It's still not been possible for us to pick one up. And we are coming into this level with 4 characters, which puts a lot of enemies on the board, but we're not going to be here for very long. We just need to kill 2 14 health Claw Crushers. Now, this could be done with just 2 characters, but if you play 2 characters on this difficulty, because Kelp hasn't leveled up yet, they would be 2 normal Claw Crushers that would have exactly 10 health. And we can very easily deal 10 damage with a Bane on Kelp, but we need Geminate to pick up the kills. So Blinkblade's going to go first, get its free move 3, then move 3 with Reckless Augmentation and grab an experience, then attack with Cascading Reaction, attack for 3 with Poison and Wound, and then do it again, attack for 4 with Advantage and Poison and Wound, and we're going to get the crit. The main thing Blinkblade was doing there was getting 3 experience, because we really want experience, and while we're here, we might as well do something, right? Lurker Claw Crusher is going to come forward and hit Blinkblade. That's unfortunate. Wave Throwers are just going to move a little bit, so that's not too bad. This melee card is generally a pretty nice thing to see. Snowflake is going to come forward and use the Blizzard Loss to target each of these Wave Throwers. We just don't want to see the +2 or the crit here, which didn't happen, which is good. The only reason we did that attack is we wanted to muddle them. So now both of these Claw Crushers are suffering from 1 negative condition. Geminate is going to activate the Reshape the Guy's Loss just to set light. That's the only thing we needed from Gem. And Kelp is going to teleport 6, make all adjacent enemies suffer 2, use the poison potion on one of these claw crushers, and then use the loss on soul hunger. We start with 2 trophies because we had the mastery, but we don't need a trophy to do this loss. And that is 1 claw crusher baned, and so he will suffer 10 damage once he takes his turn next turn. Then Kelp needs to give negative conditions to the other claw crusher, 2 more negative conditions to give it 3, and then we can bane it with Succumb to Fear. And Geminate, because there is light set and because none of the monsters on the field can eat the light, Geminate is going to be able to use that with the top loss on Mind Spike, which will target targets, and then if they're immobilized, make them suffer damage. So Kelp adds the negative conditions with Tumultuous Panic, pays a trophy to get the Bane, and now we had to use Boots to go faster than the Claw Crushers, but now they go at 11 speed, they get Shield Retaliate, and are down at 2 health, and so now they will always die. So they had 14 health each, but we just made them suffer and suffer. Blinkblade is slow, which means with the loss on Power Leak, it's a move and heal, but we gain an experience is the only thing we cared about. And Overdrive, we gain experience. So we're able to gain 3 experience while fast and then 3 experience while slow. Geminate just moves over, consumes the light on Mind Spike, and boom. That is 2 Claw Crushers killed, and we are now 4/6 of the way towards retirement. And we're going back to town. It would be possible to play this level later and have Geminate just come with Blinkblade and Kelp and play it with 3 characters, and that would be a very similar speed, but it messes up the calendar, which we don't really have very much time to talk about right now, because there's a lot going on in this outpost phase. So first, 180.1. The Great Dalum has come to visit the town, and we choose not to do anything with him, which will basically be our outpost event. So we skip our outpost event, and we get to morale. Then the next thing we have happen, our trader, who we bought supplies from a couple weeks ago, he has finally come back, and he brings us some wood and some metal, which we really needed to build our buildings. Then we'll skip everything else in the downtime phase, basically, and we're going to spend 6 wood, 2 metal, 2 hide, and 10 gold to double build the garden, which is also going to cost us 2 morale. So with 2 we got from Dalum, we lose right back, but we get our 2 prosperity from this, which is very good, but mostly we have access to the garden now. That is going to add a garden event to the both the Summer Road and the Summer Outpost, I believe. So we'll just flash the decks real quick. Feel free to pause it and write down the order and check and see if that's the order that the events come in, because it will be. And with all of that, we are done with our side quest, and now back to regularly scheduled programming. All right, off to the Frozen Crypt. I really, really like this level, but I am struggling hard to do the commentary on it because there is so much going on. So this is Scenario 5. We unlocked this after we defeated the Fist and unlocked the Snowflake a while ago, but we've delayed the level because Kelp is really, really good here.
Nothing.
Road event, completely insignificant. We can just skip it. We don't buy anything from the guy. We don't have to curse ourselves. The event gets removed from the deck. Excellent. Here, looking at our battle goals, we got Layabout again on Blinkblade, which is a bit lucky, and we get Miser, never leave a room with loot tokens in it, on Kelp. These are both double check marks, which anytime I get double check marks on my characters, I'm always very incentivized to use that run of the level, even if there's like a slowdown or a mistake or anything like that. We have to suffer 2 damage each as a negative scenario effect, and just really quick, really briefly, we have a level 2 and a level 1 character here, which means if we were just playing regular +1 hard difficulty, it would be level 2 monsters, but because we're doing the open information mod edition, these are level 3 monsters. We are starting out, going fast on Blinkblade. We get our free move 3, and then we get a move 3, add Pierce 2 to all of your attacks with Twin Strike. Then we're going to do Cascading Reaction, attack 3, wound. We're going to add Poison Dagger to that, which means the second attack is going to be an attack for 5 with Heavy Sword and Spyglass at advantage. +1 gives us 6 damage. On top of the 3 is 9 damage total for this guy to suffer because we had all of the Pierce, and now he will die to the wound. The Elite Ice Wraith is going to run up to Blinkblade and attack with wound and do quite a bit of damage, especially with the 2 that we had to suffer as a scenario effect. And so Blinkblade is rather close to dead. So even though we destroy these monsters, they actually do a lot to us. Kelp is going very late, teleporting over and stunning with Staring into the Abyss and throwing the poison potion for 2 negative conditions. We just need 1 more, and then we can bane this guy and he will die. So we'll wound him with the bottom of Lacerating Stabs. We could have used our Boots of Speed if he had gotten his 13 speed card, and we would have undersped him. Now he is baned, guaranteed to die during his turn, even though Ice Wraith do do have 3 heal self cards, which can normally be something that it's difficult for Kelp to play around. Blinkblade's going to suffer for wound on its turn, and then heal 2, regenerate self, and do a loot 1 top. So now there are no loot tokens left in this room, and Kelp is very happy about that. We paid 1 trophy, but we got 2 back because one of these guys died to wound, the other one died to bane. We're going to move and set fire with the top of kinetic transfer on Blinkblade, and then the bottom of hollow aura on Kelp lets us move and eat that element for a trophy, and then the top of tumultuous panic lets us move next to the door. We're next to the door with 4 trophies, which is very good because we're going to be playing Skull Collection and Mantle of Dread both. Do not play Skull Collection on your Kelps. Don't do it. It's a bad card. I'm only doing it here because everything is very planned out and it saves me 1 turn. So do not play Skull Collection. Even if you're playing a Bane Kelp, it costs too many trophies. It is not worth playing. That is that. Before we go into this next room, we're going to get those 2 losses set up on Kelp. Like I said, Mantle of Dread, I don't think we've seen yet. Anytime you finish a move or teleport ability next to an enemy, you can wound or muddle them. And then Skull Collection, you can pay a trophy to muddle and poison. Blinkblade gets its drive recharge setup, which we've seen in every single level so far, I think, because we need to do a lot in this next room. So we're going to open the door, and there are going to be 3 frozen corpses and an altar. The frozen corpses are immune to damage until the altar has been destroyed, but the frozen corpses can still be targeted by attacks, and they can still receive negative conditions. We set the round tracker to 1 because at the start of round 3 and round 5, another frozen corpse will be spawning at B and then C. We take a look at the frozen corpse card and see that they're going to be attacking in a cone pattern, which gives them a little bit of range, which just means that I want to position Blinkblade over on the left side. We attack for 2 and attack for 3 into the altar with Twin Strike and get it down to 6 health. So we need to do 6 damage to that thing next turn before these frozen corpses can take any damage. I mixed up the order on these guys, 1 and 6, but I'm just going to heal Kelp to get rid of that damage that he shouldn't have suffered, and we're good. They set ice this round, which kind of messes me up later, but it's not that important. Kelp is going to teleport over with Lacerating Stabs. We muddle from the Mantle of Dread, and then the Lacerating Stabs itself is going to wound. Then we can do Soul Hunger, which is the loss to bane a target with 2 negative conditions. Blinkblade is going to go really fast on this turn and play Reckless Augmentation. It's an attack for 5. We're going to Heavy Sword and Spyglass to make it a strengthened attack for 6. We have to suffer damage, but we get an experience, so not too bad. You gotta love a strengthened attack for 6 going for 12 damage, so I would have one-shot the thing. Oh well. Kinetic Transfer, I move and make this guy suffer 1 damage. Kelp, we wouldn't technically get the chest yet, but I'm going to end my turn here, so I'm going to give myself the chest. Teleport 6, make this guy suffer 2. Because we finished a teleport ability next to him, we can wound him. Then we'll pay 2 trophies for the Skull Collection to give him Muddle and Poison, and then pay a 3rd trophy to bane him with Succumb to Fear. That is 2 enemies baned. And they will both die after their turns because this guy is wounded as well. So he's muddled. He's going to attack Blinkblade. He does quite a bit of damage with that +1. And Kelp is going to get 2 trophies, 1 for each of these guys who just died to their bane. This guy, luckily, doesn't reach Blinkblade, who had taken a lot of damage. Now, if you have been keeping very close attention to Kelp, you would have noticed we have not performed an attack this entire scenario. That is about to change. We're going to move next to this guy, use Boots of Speed to underspeed Blinkblade, because Blinkblade's probably going to crit again and kill this guy in 1 hit. Kelp is going to move next to this guy, muddle him because we don't need to wound him, and attack him with Hollow Aura, which has Pierce on it, but we're going to use our Spyglass to give it advantage. That means 100% of the attacks performed by Kelp so far this scenario have been at advantage. Blinkblade kind of disappoints me with the damage it does here with Blurry Jab. I was expecting a kill. And then my brain freaked out here. I remembered the ice card that they set 2 turns ago and thought that ice was supposed to be set. So I went ahead and had these guys brittle my characters. My characters should not have been brittled. Not that big of a deal. I also did forget to gain the experience and lose Power Leak when I played the loss on it on Blinkblade. So we see the card right here. I just put it to the lost pile because I knew that it was supposed to be lost. I did check the video and I was supposed to have gained the experience, which I didn't give myself, but I still would have stayed under the 7 required to get my 2 check marks. So it's not a big deal. Blinkblade is just going to, or no, Kelp is going to go fast, move next to this guy and wound him with the Mantle of Dread, then pay 2 trophies to Muddle, Poison, and a 3rd to Bane again. And then Blinkblade's just going to attack this bottom guy, kill him, and then go and pick up a loot. Just go and pick up the loot. It's not that hard. Frozen Corpse, he's muddled, so he's going to attack and do basically no damage to Kelp. Okay, well, that should have done A damage, shouldn't it? Maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't matter. This is the 5th round since we opened the door, which means that a guy will spawn here, and it's like a weird thing. The scenario is kill all enemies, but there were no enemies on the map, but the scenario doesn't end until you have spawned everything that is set to spawn in. Kelp is just going to play the Loss on Tumultuous Panic, which is going to let us wound because of the Mantle of Dread, and then the Loss itself gives us both Immobilize and Disarm. That's our 3 negative conditions. We got the Bane from when the guy died to Bane last turn. We got the trophy when the guy died to Bane last turn. I'm messing up at the end again. Blink Blade, really should have played a move 3. I had a move 3 in my hand with Kinetic Transfer. I only played a move 2, so I got 1 fewer loot tokens that I could have.
Is that accurate? It might have been 7.
But it's not the end of the world. We did get a Corpse Cap here, which is pretty nice. I believe it's 2 Corpse Cap, 2 Rock Root in the loot pool, in the herb pool here. And because we got the Summer Road event that gives us Corpse Cap, that's basically all the Corpse Cap we need for the whole run. Blink Blade levels up to level 3. We're going to take a Double Time as our card here. This technically shouldn't happen until downtime phase, but I don't want to forget. We also got to pick up 2 perks on Blink Blade, and we get 2 perks on Kelp because we got the double check marks and we finished a Mastery. We're going to take out 2 -1s and add 2 +1s into Kelp. It's very, very important in this next scenario that we draw as many +1s as is possible. I beat the scenario with +1/0/0 as my pulls on Kelp. Our outpost event doesn't matter. We just get a random side scenario. So hello, I think that was Guardian Temple. Saw it very briefly. Starting our downtime phase, or daytime phase, we're going to pay an Arrowvine and an Axe Nut into the garden. We're just going to flip that downside up. And then when we come back from our next scenario, that gets flipped right side up. And we get those herbs back. And then after 2 weeks, we get an extra set of the herbs. Blink Blade is going to pay the 4 gold for the 2 for metal, 2 for hide, and we're going to give those to Kelp, and then Kelp is going to pay 1 wood to get a crude bow, which is a very strange item to have on Kelp, but don't worry about it. Then we're going to make sure that we have 2/2/1 set in as our resources in the town, because Blink Blade is going to tag out. I went back and I double checked all of the experience on Kelp. Kelp is still level 1 by 2 experience points. If you watched very closely, you might have seen that I forgot to give 2 experience in the first scenario that I played on Kelp, but I did fix it in between levels. So Kelp's experience is correct. So I have 3 level 1 characters here, which means that we're only facing level 2 monsters in the next scenario that we play. Gonna take the Axe Nut off of my characters and put them into the town, and then spend 1 Snow Thistle and 1 Axe Nut to get an Explosive Vial onto Geminate, which is just an item that is there for a little bit of safety. Then we're going to spend 2/2/1 to upgrade the Alchemist so that we can disenchant that Explosive Vial when we come back from the next scenario, and that is 6 buildings built with Snowflake in the party. Time to play a level without blinking. We are off to the Ancient Spire, scenario 15. There is a lot going on in this level. It should be renamed to Personal Quests Galore, which we'll talk about in just 1 second. First, this road event, we need to leave Malrog with an item, so we're going to give him the crude bow that we just crafted onto Kelp. You know, because I know the order of the events, I know that this is coming. I did used to have a strategy where I crafted a crude spear early, just in case I got this thing. Anyway, this scenario is really good for Personal Quest because it has robotic bolt shooters, which is the dangerous game. It's a scenario, so you can build buildings after you get back to it. And it has infinite spawning enemies that are really easy to kill, so you can get tons of loot. And this level has Flame Fruit, which is a really, really, really rare early herb. Anyway, getting on into it, all you have to do to win this level is to kill the Chaos Lieutenant, who is the Chaos Demon. He does not scale with player count, so he dies just as fast in 2-player as in 3 or 4. But only 1 person can go and fight him. He has the high ground, so he can hit all of our characters with ranged attacks. That's not going to matter at all. Only 1 character can go up to the high ground and hit him, which is totally fine. Snowflake is going to go fast and push both of the other characters forward with Spirit's Call, and set the light and give them each a bless. I accidentally hit cleanup action on her instead of on White Winds. We're going to play this White Winds Lost to hit this bottom normal robotic bolt shooter. It's an attack for 3, so it's going to deal 4 damage. Kelp now is going to play his Teleport 6, all adjacent enemies suffer 2, Poison Vial to poison this guy, and then now Lacerating Stabs is 3 attacks for 3. We're going to Heavy Sword Spyglass the first one, so we get attack for 4, attack for 3, attack for 3. We get a +1, that is 5 damage, and he's poisoned and wounded, along with the 2 damage he suffered when we came over. We draw the less on an attack for 3, so that is 6, and then a 0, and he is dead. The Chaos Demon is dead, so now this scenario is over after this turn. We're going to attack this top guy with the loss on Icebound Quills. That's an attack for 5, and it does 5 damage to him. Then we're going to hit either of the guys with Reckless Jab. It doesn't matter, because then we just kill the other one with the Explosive Vial, and that's 2 Robotic Bolt Shooters dead and killed by Geminate on turn 1. And Kelp went and achieved the goal, and you do not have to kill these Robotic Bolt Shooters. We just have to get through their turn. The Ruined Machines never spawned. Unfortunately, we didn't get to get the loot, but I had to play this scenario with only 3 characters. Bringing the Snowflake speeds it up because I can push Kelp over closer to the guy, and we get 1 of each resource as a scenario reward, which is quite good. I had to play this with 3 characters because I needed an inspiration. Geminate has just finished its personal quest, and I have 15 inspiration exactly. So we are going to get our outpost event, and it is to spend 10 gold to upgrade the barracks, which we are going to be starting winter soon, so we want that barracks upgrade. So 7 out of Gem and 3 out of Kelp. To finish that up, we get a prosperity, and we get 2 soldiers for upgrading the barracks, which is very, very, very good. That is basically the only thing that I was looking for in the summer outpost deck, was to get the barracks. The garden gets flipped back up to face up, so we get 1 Arrowvine and 1 Axenut. We are in the downtime phase, so we're going to spend our 4 gold to get a metal and a hide. We'll get the logging camp eventually. You need a lot of lumber for building buildings, but we don't have it yet. We're just going to move the Snowflake over to player 4 real quick because Blinkblade, was itching to get back in the party. And when we retired our Deathwalker, that added another personal quest to the deck, and we want to get down to only 3, because with 3 and with 2 of them being the same building, when we spend our 15 inspiration, we can guarantee we get the building that we want. So just going to move a large number of items, herbs, items in general, over to the town supply, because we now have access to Axenut, and we can spend some of the Axenut that we have and give Blinkblade some pretty good stuff. So we're going to get a Frenzy Potion and a Muscle Potion. That Strengthened is just really, really nice on the muscle, and Blinkblade loves performing attacks. Frenzy Potion is really good for if you thought you were going to get a kill and miss it for some reason. We're disenchant the Explosive Vial off of Geminate right before Geminate retires. Make sure to put anything of Geminate's into the town resources. I don't think there was anything. I'm just double checking what the thing is here. But when we retire Geminate, we add something to the calendar in 4 weeks, and that is a very important something. We're going to spend 15 inspiration, and we are going to complete the Greed is Good quest. So that is building 37. We get 4 prosperity because we double retired. We unlock buildings 44 and 37 right now. And are we going to build anything? When we built the barracks, that does count as building a building for Snowflake.
Just building phase.
And I'm just checking my resources right here. I'm not sure
sled
if I do build or not.
3, 2, 1.
We're gonna build the sled. Yeah, we're going to need the sled, not next but soon. So we might as well go ahead and build that. And that is it 6 or 7? I'll put it up on the screen. It's either 6 or 7 buildings built. I think it's 7.
2, 1, go.
And that finishes all of the really important retirements for the run. Deathwalker retired and got us building 24, the garden, to help get extra herbs. Geminate just retired and got building 44, the enhancer, which I don't know if we're going to use any enhancements or not yet. I haven't finished the run, and I don't know if I'm going to have enough gold for it, but we'll see. And then the 15 inspiration, we were able to unlock building 37, the trading post, which has some really good items we're going to use later. We're going to scenario 22, Ice Flows, the one that we saw earlier. A boat event along the way is going to give us 2 morale. We keep going back and forth over that +5 and +0 threshold. We get 2 -1s added to each of our characters. I was supposed to take the Ignore Negative Scenario Effects perk on Kelp, but I forgot, so I have to take that. But that's not the end of the world. Now here, my characters have their health messed up. Sometimes when you load, it just doesn't give you your health for leveling up, so I just had to fix that real quick. Kelp got a really good battle goal, give something a negative condition while it already has one, and Blinkblade got kill one of each monster type, which there are only 3 monster types in this scenario, so it's definitely possible to get that. But there are only 3 Claw Crushers total, so have to get that pretty fast. So we're going for a pretty similar strategy to what we did here, just to kill the 2 Claw Crushers as fast as possible for the Geminate. The Claw Crushers are going to come forward. They run towards Kelp because Kelp is a little bit faster. Wave Throwers are going to come forward as well, and then Kelp is going to move forward. We need a lot of movement to get in here. So Tumultuous Panic is going to immobilize both. This way they're always next to each other. And then I get to disarm and Poison Potion one of them to give him 3 negative conditions, and I can give him a Bane. Now that Bane is going to take this guy down to 3 health, and then ideally, because of the poison and the dark that I have set, I can use Slipping into Death, which is an attack for 1 or 2 with dark, and then 3 with poison, and then 4 with heavy sword and spyglass. Ideally, I would kill this guy who I'm attacking right now, and with Slipping into Death, if you kill a target, you can bane a normal, it has to be a normal, that is next to the target. Unfortunately, because Blinkblade drew a +1 on its attack, that means that this guy is going to die to the bane, and he's not going to survive with 1 health, which would be ideal. So first we want to take care of these Wave Throwers because Wave Throwers can summon, which is obviously really, really annoying. We don't want to see that. So Haunting Brutality, teleport 6 into these guys. Lacerating Stabs into the normal twice. So attack 2 into the normal does 3 damage. And then I strengthen Heavy Sword my attack 4. So I get a +2 and deal 7 damage to the Elite, which is insanely good damage. I don't think I've ever, in all of my attempts, I did like 15 or so attempts at this level. That's the best damage that I got. Blinkblade teleports forward, or runs and jumps forward 4 with Kinetic Transfer, makes both of these adjacents suffer 1, which means that the Elite is going to die. We discard our rolling +2 on a Frenzy Potion, so the Frenzy Potion is attack for 2, +2, +2, and Poison Dagger is going to kill this normal Wave Thrower. And then Twin Strike, we still have the Winged Shoes to jump over the Elite, and then Heavy Sword and Spyglass into the normal gets him down to 1 health, and both Wave Throwers die to wound. Never in all of my other attempts did I have both of the Wave Throwers die here. If that stupid Claw Crusher just had 1 health and were poisoned right here, this would be so insanely good, because Kelp would be able to do the Slipping into Death. Still, it's going to work out. Blinkblade can just take a load off here and just loot for a second while I've got these coins next to me. Claw Crusher is going to come towards us, and then Kelp's just going to teleport forward 3 and just hit him for 2 because there's not really much else to do. I just played Slipping into Death because I don't really need it for anything. Unfortunately, it does crit on this attack for 2, so 3 damage because of his shield. Not the end of the world. I just want this guy dead as fast as possible. So Hollow Ore is going to be able to pierce the shield, but I don't have Poison Dagger or Spyglass on either character. Blinkblade does still have the Heavy Sword, which is nice. So that gives me an attack for 5 with Blurry Jab. I forgot the experience on Blurry Jab, and I forgot the experience on Twin Strike. I fixed one of them later, and so then I'll fix the other one before the next scenario. Blurry Jab gets a +1, so we're able, and Hollow Ore, we get this guy down to 2 health, and he's wounded. So he'll just hit Blinkblade on his turn, no big deal. And now he's just going to die to wound. I should have had Blinkblade try to go fast and attack this guy and kill him. That's definitely what I should have done, because then I would have gotten my 2-check battle goal. But instead, I went slow, and he died to wound, and I do not get the battle goal because of that. Looks like I also forgot to heal 2 on the long rest, which I was thinking I might have, but not too big of a deal. We refresh all of our items, get rid of the things we don't need. We're ready to go into the next room. So this A tile here, once we step onto it, it will link us downstairs into the bottom floor of the boat. When we get downstairs in the boat, there are a bunch of monsters attacking it. Lightning Eels, Claw Crushers, and Wave Throwers are attacking the boat. So they focus on us like normal, but if they can't reach us to attack us, they will instead attack the closest empty boat hex. And if they deal, I believe it's 10 damage to the hex, although don't quote me, they will destroy it and turn it into water because they have destroyed that part of the boat. If we get up to, I think it's 11 water hexes on the boat, we lose. But that's not going to happen. There are only 6. The worst thing that can happen for you is if the Wave Throwers summon, because that automatically puts water on the boat. But still, it's not going to be too big of a deal. We're going to be able to handle it. Blinkblade set up Drive Recharge and Double Time before going into this room. So Blurry Jab is now going to be a move 7, and we threw on the Winged Shoes to get move 7 jump. That's going to allow us to get way back next to the Wave Throwers because we want to kill them before they can summon. We're going to suffer 2 damage to make everything in range suffer what would be 1, but Double Time is going to buff that up to 2. So we make 10 damage of suffer, which is pretty good, but it deals half of the lightning eel's health is the best part of it. Blinkblade doesn't have very much AoE, but double timed experimental adjustment is a little bit of AoE. Kelp is just going to move forward and wound this guy with the Mantle of Dread and then just stun him, because why let him have a turn, right? Wave throwers are going to target Kelp here since Blinkblade's invisible. This is a range 3 attack with a triangle pattern, so it's basically range 4. Wave thrower just moves up a little bit to hit Kelp, but they have basically no base damage, so that's not a big deal. Now all of the lightning eels are going to attack the boat, so they attack the closest empty hex, and they can attack the wall hexes. Just get some damage tokens to show how much they do, but they're all just attacking for 2. So the first guy does none, the second guy does 4. It's not going to be super significant because they're not going to destroy any of the boat hexes. Because I think it's you can probably see that Blinkblade here just wants to short rest, get experimental adjustment back, because playing that is going to kill the rest of the lightning eels, at least the ones over close to Blinkblade. Then Kelp is just getting set up to go ahead and bane this Claw Crusher. So Blinkblade suffers 2 again, makes everything here suffer 2, kills the lightning eels, gets both wave throwers low, and then we can heal 2 off Sand in the Hourglass, and then the pay a time token to play an additional card effect gets doubled, so we can play 2 additional cards for 4 on the turn. We're going to throw on our Muscle Potion to strengthen real quick, and then Cascading Reaction to this bottom guy is attack for 3 and gain double experience. The Bless from the Drive Recharge is going to kill, and then a +1 right here. We almost kill this guy. And then, so I got 4 experience from Cascading Reaction alone. I should be at 6 right now because I got 2 in the first room. Then Twin Strike, I'm going to kill this guy. I grab 2 experience real quick to get up to what should be 8. And now the second strike of Twin Strike is attack for 3, heavy sworded up to 4, and strengthen, and boom. We've killed everything except for this Claw Crusher. And Kelp is just going to move next to him, give him a second negative condition from the Mantle of Dread. Soul Hunger only requires 2 negative conditions to Bane, and we heal and we get the experience for it, and we set Dark. I was thinking that I had forgotten something, but I didn't. And then all of the monsters... Oh, that's what it was. This Claw Crusher was not stunned. I don't know why I skipped his turn. He should have attacked Kelp. It doesn't matter. Kelp was full health and could have lost cards to damage. What does matter here is that he's going to attack me and immobilize, which is really unfortunate, because I wanted Kelp to pick up some gold, but... Oh well. Maybe I should have rested Kelp. I still had my Boots of Speed available, so if I had gone at like 20, I would have been able to underspeed him and pick up some loot. I figured I might as well just end it here and attack him, even though I could have just let him die to wound, and then I would have gotten a loot next turn, but not too big a deal. I was just checking how much movement Blinkblade has. Blinkblade does have 3 movements, so I can move 1 and then 2 onto the difficult terrain here, and then loot 1 with Temporal Displacement, and get 4 wood is actually really, really nice with the end there. A couple things we need as a scenario reward for this. First of all, Kelp does get its battle goal, but Blinkblade doesn't get his because he never killed a Claw Crusher. 1 died to wound, 1 died to bane, 1 died to hollow aura. Then each of my characters gets 15 experience. I wasn't sure if it was 15 or 10 here because one of the upcoming levels gives 10 experience as a reward, but I did check it is 15.
Oh, I was
we have to pay 1 wood as like a cost for repairing the boat, but we didn't get up to 10 water hexes on the boat, so it was just 1 wood we had to pay, which is not all that bad. A week passes. When we get back to town, we get our outpost event. This is our final summer outpost. Next week we will start the winter, and so we get to pay up to 2 resources on each of our characters, and then after the next scenario, if we win, spoiler, we're gonna win, we get double what we paid back in return. And that will finish off the outpost phase, or the outpost event. So now we have our daytime. We spend 4 gold, get a metal and a hide, and then we'll flip the garden upside down. Nothing from it this week, but we get it as soon as we come back. We're not going to do anything in downtime, which means we're on the building phase, so we'll bring Snowflake in, let her experience the construction of 2 more buildings. We'll get the trading post and the craftsman. Trading post level 1 doesn't add any new items, but now we can purchase items, and the craftsman's going to add new items, but none of them are anything to write home about in particular. What is kind of interesting, I think, is where we go next, because we can't progress the lurker line anymore. We're calendar gated there, and even once we get to the calendar gate, we can't play scenario 33, the Thawed Wood, until we have the Into the Forest achievement, so we're gonna have to get that somehow. Then in the Unfettered line, we have 3 different levels we could play: the Upper Spire, the Spire Basement, or the Derelict Elevator. Then in the Algox line, we could play the Glowing Catacomb scenario 9 or the Crystal Enclosure scenario 10. I need to go deep into those lines soon because both of them will have like a 4-week calendar gate. So we want to get that started as soon as possible. But picking the next level is very, very important because right now my characters are level 3 and level 2, but they will both level up after I play the next level. And because we're on the open information, the solo mode, that's going to increase the difficulty to +2 basically as soon as we level up. So I get one level and one level only where I can face level 3 monsters. And then after that, everything's going to be level 4. So I had to go through and like check all 5 of the available levels to figure out which one has the most difficult increase. But that is something that's going to have to wait for next time. We're just adding in all of the events that get added when you upgrade when you build the trading post for the first time. Gonna take the snowflake out of the party, and that is it for part 1. So part 1 of this speed run, the first 9 scenarios, it is very, very, very RNG heavy, especially with retirements, trying to get everything to work out. Getting all of those herbs looted was a nightmare. Part 2 is kind of where a lot of the difficulty lies, because we've got a bunch of mid-game levels that they've kind of taken the training wheels off. They're much harder than the early levels, but we don't have the super, super broken, busted items yet. We don't have our 3 herb potions are the main things we're going to get. They're going to be super, super strong. And then leveling up, especially 5 on Blinkblade is a really important threshold for breakneck speed, and 7 on Kelp is really, really good. So once we hit those things, the game gets a lot easier, and we kind of just we have a smooth ride to the end from there. But hopefully you enjoyed it, and I don't know how long it's going to take for me to get the next 10 or 11 levels done, but we will just have to see.